Hola, hi, bienvenidos, welcome. I'm with the best people ever.
Yes, welcome.
Exactly, there we go. I am Melia Ben-Susan. I am honored to be the artistic director of this extraordinary theater. Welcome to Hartford Stage's 60th anniversary season.
Oh, yeah!
Congratulations.
60 years of this amazing theater being in your region. And I thank you for tuning in to this, our fourth installment of Seen and Heard here at Hartford Stage, where we feature the extraordinary people who come to work in this community. Bienvenidos. We are so thrilled you're here to do Hot Wing King. An amazing play. You're going to hear more about it, and you have to come see it. This is just a little warm-up, so you get to know these amazing people. I'm going to introduce our guests. I'm actually going to start in the middle with Christopher Betts, our director, who, if you were lucky enough to see Trouble in Mind last season, you saw Christopher's work. Christopher is our director, once again, and he is the Joyce C. Willis Fellow, supported by the Roberts Foundation, which is hugely important to us. An enormous thanks to the Roberts Foundation and to the memory of Joyce Willis, whose generosity has made this possible. We're thrilled to have you back at the helm. And then we have Bjorn DuPaty.
Bjorn DuPaty.
Bjorn DuPaty.
We're having a great time.
All right,
promise. Okay, we got that one out the way.
Yeah. So I was practicing beforehand, but I was so focused on the last name and sort of giving it the French inflection.
But you know what? You're not incorrect on the first line.
Well,
it's
we
just
were
my
going to talk
mother.
about. Well, we can talk. So my name is a Greek name, which I am not, but it should be pronounced Melia. But I grew up Melia, porque así en Mexico, no?
Sure.
Anyway, and Calvin Thompson.
It sits on your tongue.
So I'm gonna throw it. As you can tell, these guys are amazing. These humans are extraordinarily gifted and are bringing this play with much joy. This is
So
actually
much joy.
because that is the point. On some level, what we're doing here is to bring joy and humanity to our community and to remind you of the gifts of being human. And I think this play, as it deals with family and relationships and starting anew and queerness and life, is an extraordinary example of all these things. So I'm going to turn to Christopher first, and then we're going to hand this all over to you all.
All right.
Well, what is Hot Wing King about? And why are we doing it, and why are you here doing this wonderful play?
Okay, where do I start? Well, the Hot Wing King is about a family that is forming. It's a chosen family that is forming. And within that chosen family, there is a ritual that is really spearheaded by Cordell, and he has the loving support of his partner, Dwayne, and they sort of bring their entire
And
community.
they're a relatively new couple.
Yeah, well, 5 years. They just moved in.
They've just moved in, thank you.
And that's
Right,
when the
right,
stuff,
right.
that's when you really get to
It's one thing to love somebody, it's another to live with them.
Yeah,
So,
they're out of the honeymoon phase.
Way past.
It's been 2 months of them living together, so they know how to get under each other's skin, and they do. It's definitely not conflict averse at all.
Right.
So we're coming together, and I would say we because it feels like whenever you're in that rehearsal room with these wonderful actors, it just almost feels immersive because you just feel so a part of the act that they're doing. The cooking is such a ceremony in the play, and it has required so much choreography in many ways.
Talk about why is there cooking in the play? Why is the play called The Hot Wing King?
Yeah, so Cordell's entering for the 5th time the Hot Wing King, the Hot Wing Festival in Memphis, Tennessee, and he's determined to win this year. He really needs a win. He has given up so much moving from St. Louis to Memphis. So I think that what Katori is getting at is that food is ritualistic, food is very soothing, and there are cooking practices that have built community for quite a long time. And in all communities of color, cooking and being in that ritual means a lot. So to have someone who is creating his own family by feeding them with love and also feeding them, feeding their appetites as well is just perfectly kismet. And it's so interesting that they're entering a competition as well, because I think that they're entering a competition, and that's where actually the conflict comes in a lot. It's like she's really interwoven the conflict and the competition and all these things that can sort of cloud or come in and
interrupt
disrupt
the joy.
Yes,
Right?
yeah.
I
So,
really like what you said about it being an act of love to feed people. Like I do think that
Amen.
that's very present, especially with Cordell. It's like that's what he has to give to his partner and to the people that's in this house. So
And part of the challenge is what community is in the house, right? And what are the boundaries around family? And how we both love the people we're connected to. I'm thinking of your nephew through this, right?
For sure.
And the stories around needing to take care of each other but prioritize our partners, which I think is just so universal.
yes.
For sure. I mean, there's so many different love languages.
Yes, well said.
Swarming in the house, from acts of service to words of affirmation to even I feel like laughter itself in the house is a thing that is like, I'm going to bring you out of this place where I know you need healing. So I think that truly the play itself, each character is an alchemist in a kind of way to transform each other. A kind of way throughout the play as the play progresses.
And I should say Katori Hall won the Pulitzer for this.
Yes,
she did.
Yes,
she did.
yes.
Because it's really an extraordinary feat of artistry, this play, because you feel like you're in the house with y'all, and you forget. I forget, even watching the rehearsals, I lose track that I'm in a play, that I'm watching a play. I feel like I'm just in the room. And my love for everybody in this play, you're right, the alchemy, we expand. I feel like the play makes us larger as humans, just being in witnesses of it.
For sure, and it's so specific too.
Yes.
It's interesting how I equate this. Maybe a very broad statement, but I'm just speaking to how when you have a really great piece of work, the two of us, we both talked about our love for A Raisin in the Sun.
Yes.
in our ways. But we say that, that is so specific to Chicago and Black life in the 60s, right? But and about what that family wants and what they're going through and to get overcome. But it's universal. And we're here, and timeless. And
To
so,
the specificity.
To the specificity. And so through this play, I hope Katori doesn't mind me equating it, because this, to me, is time. It just hits my heartstrings in the same kind of way, that it is so specific to the time of now for our Black community and to what Black men need for now. And I think that I've seen, thankfully, I don't know if I'm jumping you, but
jump away.
We've had the opportunity to work with Katori herself.
I was going to ask about this, so jump away. I love this. Because you both did these roles with Katori, the playwright, as the director. And this play is, not to jump what you were going to say, about Katori's brother.
Yes.
And the connection you now have.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
So tell us about that. What's the source for this play?
I think that the source is love. I don't know, that's the word that I'm just saying. But again, it's how even in the painful moments and the uncomfortable moments, because you shouldn't be afraid to lean into moments, discomfort, sure.
Oh yeah, discomfort.
Yeah, but through that, I
Okay,
think.
gentlemen, I'll throw words out at you because you've got the ideas.
Yes,
So I'm
We're here
just here
together.
supporting.
We're here together. But that's what it is. And that's what love is. It helps you feel seen. It helps you feel supported. And I think that even in those uncomfortable moments is like, this may be an uncomfortable moment, but I see you. And I think that each character through the play, especially Dwayne and Cordell, they go through not wanting to be seen, and at times, and it's like, I need to be seen so I can be better.
I love Dwayne and Cordell's relationship so much, and I will just say I see so much. You're right, the specificity of what they've both been through is one narrative, but I also feel my relationship through that lens, because I feel the sense of boundaries and family, and when family moves in with you, and when you want space with your partner versus friends wanting space, right?
Yeah.
I mean, anyone who's had a relative move in or friends take over.
But what I like, speaking of it, is like, love takes a fight.
Yes, amen. Yeah.
Like, it's that old
And they're
thing.
fighting for their
Yeah, it's
relationship.
like love takes a fight, and it's like totally random. I heard Keanu Reeves actually was doing like a little like nighttime show, and they were like, "Oh, are you a lover or a fighter?" And he said, "Well, I'm a fighter for love, like, because love actually takes." You have to fight for it. It's not something that just shows up and just.
That's right.
And I just love. I remember hearing that and just hanging on to that. It was like, oh yeah, you have to be a fighter for it.
And
It's not easy.
We see you both fighting to hold on to
Yeah.
what they know is precious between them.
Yeah, like
And they don't give up.
initially reading it, you might think, oh, these people are just fighting, and it's like, no, they're fighting. We talked about this a lot too through the crafting of this relationship. Is like, what may be to the ear as a fight, what really is that these two people are on the same side, and it's the thing out there that is the fight, and we're fighting to be understood. We're fighting to see each other better. We're fighting to communicate. Like we're fighting to be our authentic selves to each other in this space. And some of that is a challenge because it calls us to grow, meaning that like, oh, this person that I started the play in is actually not the person I'm going to be at the end of this play. And so what you were saying, everybody's an alchemist is for each other's growth, is like, yeah, at the end we're all need to step forward in a level of growth, to be seen, to be loved, to love others.
I love that. And you also, in addition to seeing how much your two characters love each other, you see the love you have for your friends.
For sure.
And the prioritizing and to celebrate male friendship. The way this play does. I when I first read this play and I sent it to Christopher, I just loved it. And I thought its portrayal of these men together, sharing space, caring about something. And I feel like it shows us sides of men, and particularly black men, that we don't always see in the culture.
We're about to go there with exactly what I was about to say.
Okay, you say
I mean,
it
no,
better.
we're vibing.
We're vibing.
here.
It's about
It's about
it.
It's about We're having a good time today. But no,
You should be so lucky to be with us, because this is pretty good. So go ahead.
get us a couple of copies. Anyway, I'm joking. But no, I just want to applaud and give Christopher, again, from having like experience. Bjorn and I have experience with this.
Yeah.
But I just want to give Chris his flowers. We had a moment in this, because we're in this amazing playground that we've been in the past 2.5 weeks.
The rehearsal
And-
room just down the hall from where we're recording right now.
Yeah, and Chris, amazingly, sometimes in the creation process, you gotta let it play and find the clunks and stuff like that. But he curated something, and again, we had a conversation about this story, and specifically the story of what we're telling around these black men in this house. And he was like, we which again, I think for great actors, we took it there to a point that it wasn't what it was supposed to be. It was like, let's tell a different story, and it was a beautiful. And I was like, because the world would do that. Look at black men in a certain way and say, that's who they are, and look at very surface things. But I think again, to what Bjorn is saying is like, I'm quoting him. He said, "Black men, we love
Hard.
We love fiercely."
Yeah.
And I want to just applaud. I just want to give him his flowers. The thing about this, both times, is incredible what Katori has written, but it's what he's pulling out of us is our capacity to love, and love boldly, and to fight for it. So I don't know. You had any more about that, or?
Yeah, I think what is so interesting to me about this play is that I consider myself a joyful person. So what I loved about it was the joy, but it's rich in conflict, which I also find that fascinating as well. You know, I think all good plays have a lot of conflict. So I think that for me, drawing from my own personal life, and you know, I love really hard, and I will fight for some love, and you know, in those moments of just seeing like, okay, great, like making sure that they're always fighting to love each other, and that they're fighting this thing that is in between them, and that they're never actually fighting each other, like they're fighting for the love for each other is extremely important to me, because I never, you know, I never wanted, like, you know, things to come off like aggressive, or like potentially like, oh, maybe this may escalate into something else, because that's not what she's written, right? What she's written is that these two people love each other very, very, very much, and they've given up so much on both ends to try and make this happen, and they're both very vulnerable, right, because of how much they've given up. And you know, sometimes when you're extremely vulnerable, it can lead you to feel very isolated, and when you're very isolated, your ego can come out, right? And I think that sometimes there's moments where miscommunications happen, ego comes out. So just really like looking at what she wrote and the sequence in which it comes, and saying like, okay, well, this person's ego is slipping out a little bit here, and it's because this triggers this thing in this person. So going line by line and saying, well, why exactly, if we are, you know, saying something that may hurt the other person's feelings, where can we trace that back to in this 5-year relationship, where exactly that comes from, and where that trigger comes from, so we know that like, like, okay, I didn't say ow, right? Like, I think that they're learning how to say ow instead of just retaliating and responding. And so figure out what the source of that ow is.
Yeah.
So this is like a lesson in directing, right? So the director is constantly adjusting, editing, shaping, right? So it's a wonderful description of how you're helping shape what these brilliant artists, how do they know to give their heart to it, but you're the outside eye helping tell the story that you all want to tell.
Okay, I want to add something to the conversation, because I feel like what always has drawn me to this play is not just, you know, the love, and what drew me specifically was the relationship between father and son, but like what really, really drew me to this play is the idea of masculinity, and how in this world, in this country, a lot of men feel cut off from themselves. Yeah. And in a sense of like, in whatever capacity you feel, you know, one group feels that they can't express themselves this way, another one this way, and it always strikes me how a lot of problems always come up from the miscommunication, but the miscommunication comes from being trained to think that, I cannot express myself a certain way. So speaking of that love, it's like, oh, well, I have not actually been trained to love in this way. I've been trained that that's a woman's job, and I'm supposed to be the hard one. And that's an act of love too, but really literally crumbling under those ideas. So it's like, what really is also a blessing is when you come see this, it's also we're giving a gift to the audience, to all those men, as an example that this is possible. That you can actually express yourself this way. You can actually be in communion with other men this way. You can actually like say and speak and be your full self. You don't have to hide, because the hiding is actually killing us. It is killing us. Women live longer not because they're just healthier. They're living longer because of the stress. We're crumbling under stress.
Oh, Jordan, I
and
love
so,
that.
like,
I love that.
I think this play gives us the opportunity to see us in a more full way, and be able to go out and express that within our lives, and that I think is a blessing, because we become a ripple effect that I will never get to see what their ripple effect fully is, but we get to see the ripple effect that may possibly happen in other people's lives as they go out and experience this with other people in their own lives.
I wish my father could see this play. My Mexican father misses the Latino.
Yeah,
Latino
absolutely.
hombres, they hug, they touch,
Yeah.
they love in a way that American, if I can use a gross generalization, right? And I think of my son as I hear you, my 27-year-old son who's challenged with these ways. No, and thank you, because I think it is a gift of what she's written here. To the more mundane, but equally pleasurable, tell us about the food in this play. What is it like to have to rehearse a play and perform a play where you're cooking all the time?
I first want to say, chicken is not a food that just black people eat.
Let's start there.
Let's start there, actually.
Say more, please.
I'm just saying, it's like always one of them foods where it's always being thrown that we eat watermelon and we eat some chicken. And that's not necessarily false, but it ain't us. It ain't all us. And we're not the only ones. We're not the only ones. I'm just saying, we're not the only ones that's keeping the chicken industry going.
I am
So
sure
stop.
if
Let's
you
cut
look
that
at
out.
camera, there are many people
There's
watching.
many people
eating a
who
lot
eat
of chicken.
Chicken, I know you're out there. Stop acting like it's not. So first of all, let's start right there. But
What's it like to do a play with so much food?
Oh my goodness.
well, it is a challenge because we have to cook and
Are
we
you
have to
really
eat.
cooking?
You have to come see.
You have to come see.
guests.
We like that'll be a
That's
test.
smart.
Let us know
That would be a
in the
test.
lobby. That's the lobby
I
conversation.
like that.
Has a lot of
Oh, I
conversation.
like that.
Amen.
Come see and decide
Yes.
if they're really cooking and really eating. And if you go there, if they are eating and cooking, what are they cooking and eating?
Yeah.
So, but like it is, yes, so the challenge is to pull that off on stage.
Yeah.
But it actually really is a great joy to, to have that,
The tactile element.
yeah, there's an element of just it being so real and just right at your fingers, on your tip of your
Quite
tongue.
literally.
and it's just something about that experience as an actor that yes, we play make believe, but sometimes it's just good to have a little real on stage. You know what I mean? Like it's just like I don't have to imagine going, this is good. It's like,
It is
oh
good.
no,
It is
it's
good.
it's actually really good.
Yeah.
You know?
I will throw, to quote Calvin, I'll throw some roses, some flowers, did you say, to our props people.
Oh
Yes.
yes.
Because they've got to come up with, and you mentioned vegans.
Yeah. Oh yes.
So
we have
we've
some
got
vegans in
some
the cast.
non-chicken eaters
Yeah.
in this company,
Yeah.
and they're going to be eating
Something.
chicken wings. Yeah,
Something.
if they eat.
If they
there's
eat.
food.
If they eat.
If
If there's food.
They don't
Again.
eat.
So
Better.
Pops is working hard, and today
They're
was your
working
first.
hard.
All right, so here's
They're
where
doing
we
a
are in
great
our
job.
schedule. I
Yeah.
try to share this with Seen and Heard always, right? So we are recording this the day of
Yeah.
your first run through for designers.
Yep.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
you have put it all together
Yeah.
with all the props.
Yeah.
They go into the theater this Friday.
Woo.
Yep. And we start performances next week.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're ready. You guys are ready.
Yeah.
That
But-
just hit home.
Yeah, it did.
You said 2 weeks today. We open in 2 weeks.
He is right.
We're still in rehearsal. It's still a process.
is-
And even after we open, you'll be discovering things. We're in
Amen.
process.
That is right. It is a journey. And previews, in case you don't know, we'll share that previews are a
Yeah.
wonderful time when if you come to a preview, your response informs
Yes.
what happens in rehearsal the next day. Previews mean that there's a performance and then there's a rehearsal.
Yes.
And, you know, some of us, i.e. Christopher and myself,
Yeah.
rehearse a lot.
Oh,
in previews,
yes.
Right?
All the way.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
All of a sudden, I don't like this place. I went out.
Well, you
They'll like it when they hear the applause.
Exactly.
When you get the standing
Exactly.
you'll like it then.
But it is interesting. I love what you're saying about this combination of the tangible. There's an
Yeah.
aspect of pretend, but there's also the reality of the connection between you all as a
Oh.
cast,
Yeah.
and then the reality. We have this great image of
Oh.
the set here. Look at this.
Yeah.
Right?
Emmy.
Which is, bravo,
Yes.
Emmy. They've done an amazing job, and they've really captured this feeling of this home.
The feeling I think that the audience will walk away with. It is a very lived in space. They will feel like this is a intimate,
Yes.
and I think that's Katori's intention with her play is
And
that it's radical intimacy, radical love.
Mm.
So all of these things are again layered in that sauce.
And it's in a thrust, because, you know, we love a thrust at Hartford
Yeah.
Stage, because we're built
So
for
I've
this.
heard.
I am editing. I am editing here. I have to keep, I
Simply,
don't know what you mean.
Take it however you want.
Exactly. We'll have a good time with that. The audience is right here. You're right in the living room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're right with the actors
Yeah.
experiencing this contest.
Yes. And we so intentionally wanted no walls in between the audience and the performers. So there's you can see where the walls of the home start and end, but it's not until you get upstage that there are any barriers. And there's actually no barriers between the audience and the performers.
You're in their laps, as it
Yes.
were.
Yeah.
Really experiencing the extraordinary journey of these 6 men in this play,
Yes.
with enormous love to Katori Hall and the genius of what she's made, and enormous thanks to the fact this is an extraordinary cast, and just sharing so much. The room is full of joy. There's a lot of joy in this play,
Yeah.
but as you said,
Yeah.
it doesn't avoid conflict.
No.
There's some of the darkness of our history
Yep.
and what it means to be a black man or a black woman in this culture,
Yep.
right, is really in the texture of this. It's
Yeah.
in the writing that we feel the pain, right? That first read through, we all felt the depth of the feeling,
Yeah.
and yet there's also just the perseverance that love
Yeah.
does keep coming, laughter keeps coming, the nurturing, the food, the alchemy,
For sure.
as you said.
Yeah, I think that I was telling the actor Alfonso Walker today
Who plays TJ?
that
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
plays TJ. That
Who is TJ? Share, since you both said TJ, who is TJ in this
Oh,
play?
TJ.
TJ is
Our intrusion.
Is the intrusion. Exactly.
He's the intrusion.
Uninvited guest.
The
Yeah.
uninvited guest, certainly to some people's point of view, more than others.
Yeah. What I was going to get, we were having a conversation about grief. And today, and the cast is really layering in exploring the boundaries now, because I feel like we are carrying ourselves as an ensemble. And so I was saying, we as Black people the thing that has helped us survive and be as resilient as we are to come through the trauma that we've come through, and the trauma and just the lineage of all the things, it is also is love, and it's love, is the laughter and the joy. So you will see the pendulum swing on the other side of this, that we will feel those things and go there to those places, but again, it evens out, and it always settles with love.
It's an extraordinarily joyous journey.
Yeah.
Right? And in a sense, right, it's you can't have the joy if you don't also see
it's
what
balance.
the other side is.
Gotta have-
Frankie Beverly, a prophet, Frankie Beverly said joy and pain. Sorry,
Yeah.
that's black.
I got
Sunshine
the
and
Jewish
rain.
version.
Sunshine and rain.
I got the Jewish version.
Yes!
It's the same. We break a glass at a wedding.
Okay.
And
Yes.
why? Because there's always loss.
Yeah.
Because it's
That's true.
not repairable, but it's fixable.
Yeah.
It's sort of both,
I
right?
didn't do that.
There's a sense that there's always
Oh,
loss.
wow.
So I feel like there's a real connection.
What is the, I forget which Asian culture does that. If they break something, they actually kind of glue it back together, but they glue it back together with like
To
gold.
see the seams, and you highlight the seams.
Yeah, it's like you highlight the seams.
Yeah.
It's actually really wonderful.
Yeah.
It's
I forget.
that, right?
Yeah.
That we're made stronger.
Yeah, it gives you a
By
sense
it.
of hope. Like what I love about the play is that it definitely challenges you, like as the actor, as the artist, as the audience, but it never renders you hopeless. And I
Oh,
think
I love that. That is well said.
That is
Yeah.
so that's what makes me love the play so much, is that it can go to these places that are very challenging, and that even as someone who has seen it probably like 50 times now, even during the run through today, I was like, whoo, there's certain lines, and then but it makes that turn, and it never abandons you. She never abandons you.
Yes.
She never
She
abandons you.
pulls
so
you,
well.
right?
Yeah.
That is well said.
Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned him earlier, but the thing that I love about it, and it was the byproduct of the Katori and the Alliance production, is I got to see in real time Katori's brother,
Who's the
and who I play,
Yeah.
Dwayne.
Yep.
And when you really truly see a couple, I don't know, just this day and age, there's so many swirling things. Just to see people choose love nowadays. There was an interview that she did about that asked her what did she think of that she wrote something for him and it won the Pulitzer, and when he saw it, what did he think? And she just had the biggest smile on her face, which that in itself is like the fact that you're smiling, thinking about your brother who is gay in the black
That it
community.
gives you joy.
It gives me joy. Well, it warms my
I mean, it
heart
gives her
because-
joy, is what I mean, yeah.
And to know that it's award winning.
Award winning.
It's
To
award
quote
winning.
Isom.
Yes. His love. Wow, his love is award winning.
Wow.
You know
That's
that and she said it was just he just had tears. He went through that signature production. He had tears. He saw the DC production. So he may pop up on us somewhere.
We
along
would
the line.
love that,
Yes,
and
yes,
and
yeah.
we can connect you on our webpage. You'll find links to these articles and
Yeah.
more about Katori Hall and the Pulitzer, and also the bios of these extraordinary artists. I can't thank you all enough for coming here to do this play.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if this did make you want to see the play, well, I mean, I'm beyond. I don't know what else I can tell you. There's so much joy.
It's this. This
is what we do.
We're gonna have a good time.
We're gonna have a good time.
There is
And we had
so
a
much
good time
We had a
making
good
it
time.
for you.
Yes. And if
All
y'all
right.
don't have a good time, we gonna have.
We gonna have a good time.
So wait, now I gotta tell you how to get here, okay? So come share in the joy with us. This is truly a play that celebrates family and love and gender and queerness and connection and how we all learn to live with each other and have patience and love towards each other. This extraordinary Pulitzer Prize-winning play
Yes.
runs from February 29th to March 24th. When you look on our webpage, hartfordstage.org, look for certain performances. We have special performances where there are talkbacks, where you can hear more from the amazing artists that build these works, as well as closed captioned and other sort of special events around our performances. So be sure you look on our webpage for those. This is our 60th anniversary season. I know I said it before, but it bears repeating. And the way you can support this theater is, of course, by coming and seeing these amazing plays. But also, I'll tell you, it's a great deal and good for this institution and this community if you subscribe. We still have 3 plays left in this season, so it is really come see Hot Wing King. And then it's followed by All My Sons and 2.5-minute ride. Really a journey with these 3 productions of different sides of lives that impact all of us in this community. So we invite you to subscribe, but more than anything, we invite you to come celebrate the artistry of these people who we are blessed to have in our community for these residencies to do these plays. We thank you for your support of Hartford Stage. We look forward to seeing you at the theater. And thank you, 3 brilliant souls, for joining us for this conversation.
Thank you.
We'll see you at the theater. Gracias.